done with it. I'm not going to do this. Well, that's when enough is enough. It's when you realize that you're experiencing mental or physical problems, that you get that pit in your stomach, that you know something needs to be done, and you are willing to go beyond that feeling of fear or annoyance or thinking, I can't do that, I can't say that. When you are over that boundary and you know, like, yeah, I don't want to say it, but I'm going to do it anyway, because otherwise it's going to annoy me too much or it's going to hurt me. And I just cannot do it. That's when it's time to go there. When is enough enough? For me, enough is enough when you keep thinking about it, when it makes you sick, when, well, actually, it's prior to when it makes you sick. So enough is enough when you know it's going to hurt you in the short term and in the long run. That's basically when enough is enough. And of course, the question is, what can you do about it when enough is enough? So here's the thing. I'm here in an industrial area, and as you all know, I work a lot of times in the middle of the night. I go live. I'm in Europe. People I go live with are in the States or in Canada, so different time zone. So usually I do my lives during the night. It's just easier that way. And one of the reasons I love being here in the middle of the night is because it's quiet. You know, usually people stop working. And I'll tell you a little funny thing. When people are actually making noise, like loud noises because of using a hammer or using a saw or all that stuff, I can handle that. Actually, it makes me smile to a degree. So industrial noise is no problem. And of course, people have parties here, especially on Saturday during the day, and fine by me too. It's predictable, and at some point it stops. But for a while now, I think like 4 or 5 weeks in a row now, multiple nights in a row, they start playing video games. And they do that 2 doors down on the other side of the building. And that's something I cannot handle that well. I've never been able to do so. When I want to go live, I need it to be a little bit quiet. And of course, when it's during the day, you know, it's okay. But when it's like 1 or 2 at night, it's, you know, there's no need for distraction and hearing a bass. So I'm not a person to, well, I will say things when I don't agree. I mean, I'm about speaking up, speaking out. So if I wouldn't say anything, that wouldn't be me, because then I would contradict myself. Who am I to teach speaking up, speaking out when I don't do it when it's needed? So here's the thing. Every once in a while I get there, and when I knock, they do not hear me. And that's happened a couple of times now. So yesterday I went there again, and this time I was watching a movie, and again, the bass was so loud that I couldn't hear the bass from my own movie. And I basically couldn't watch the movie because their music was going through my music, and I don't want to turn it up to, I don't know, maximum volume. That doesn't make sense, it just doesn't. And besides, when it's really quiet in such a movie, then you still hear the bass from the other person. So here's the thing. I went there yesterday, I knocked on the windows. I said, please guys. Well, I wanted to, but they didn't respond because they couldn't hear it. So I went back, picked up my phone, went there again, started recording the walk. And I did so because I wanted to show them, like, see, this is what's happening? I can knock on the door and you do not hear me. Oh, by the time I got there, I could turn it off because the window was open. So I shut down the video and that was it. So I talked to them, and earlier this week and the week before, we had a similar encounter. So, like week before, it was so loud they had opened the window, so I just pulled the window open a little bit further, and I said to them, guys, would you mind? And they jumped like a meter up high in the air, which was kind of funny, I have to admit. It was really funny. It was on a Friday. So the next time I came, they said, don't ever do that again. Don't put your head through the window. Well, actually, I didn't put it through the window. The window opened to the outside, so I didn't. And so when I went there again yesterday, I knocked on the windows. They didn't hear me. I went up there. Window got opened. So I said, hey, yeah, remember me? And so they turned it down. So, it was, I couldn't sleep. It was for an hour. I was like, am I going to say something? Am I not going to say something? Should I say something? I've been young too. I know what it is like to, want to do stuff. And I don't want to kill the mood. Don't want to be that nagging neighbor that always I've played drums. My mom played music, if there's someone who knows, but normally you agree to timeline. So then I said, but guys, you don't understand. I knocked on the window and you didn't hear it. Nah, that can't be true. I said, well, that's exactly the reason why I walked up to you with my phone, because I wanted to record it. So, and then, and you're stalking us and this and that. And at that moment, emotions ran high and I couldn't say anything to them anymore. They didn't listen to me anymore. There was nothing I could do. It's a shame that I couldn't talk to them anymore. Because what I wanted to explain to them is, I record this not to show it to other people. I record this so you can see it. Sometimes you need to record stuff in order to make people see what they don't believe. So they actually think that I'm, in the middle of the night, I'm going to walk around this building just for the fun of it, to arrest them and see when they're there. Well, it's the other way around. Usually I wait for like an hour or something, and then they start turning up the volume, and that's when that's basically when I knock on the window and say, hey guys, remember, I want to go live. Or prior to going live, I'll say, you just turn it down a little bit. So the question is, when is enough, and what are we supposed to take and what not? So I asked a couple of people, am I the one who's nagging all the time? So of course they see me as a stalker, which I know I'm not. And they see me as the nagging neighbor, which is correct, I am. But what I said to them last night was, look, you say you don't want me entering your building, but you are entering mine. How come? We're not even there. I said, no, but your sound is. And of course, yes, it's an industrial area, but does that mean that at 3 or 4 at night you're supposed to do this? Okay, is this better?
I would like to share something I was thinking early.
Okay, please share, Anna.
So I was exercising my bicycle, gym bicycle, and I watching videos about Brazilian songs, like a carnival song, and I was so happy to hear that song, and I was thinking like this: you have the choice to be sad or very sad, happy, happy. It is your choice. And I chose to be happy.
Good.
For example, if I happy for 40 minutes, it is I not sad for 40 minutes. It you you can understand.
Yes.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
chose the 30 minutes, for example, instead to be sad 30 minutes.
Yes, it's true. You can influence how you feel. You can choose to what you're listening. You can choose what you're going to do. Maybe go for a walk. And it's one of the things when people experience anxiety, and that it's about moving, about breathing, and about talking to yourself. Of course, that doesn't always work. Joe can probably tell you that it doesn't always work.
No.
But the thing, of course, is that we there are some basic things we can do to start up the process, and maybe it doesn't work straight away, but that doesn't mean that we at least cannot try. And the story I was telling about, for me, it didn't work anymore. So, I tried for the first hour to ignore it, and then it was turned up. And then I experienced these physical um, problems. And I know Joe knows what I'm talking about. And that's when I decided, okay, I need to go there. And, by seeing them like jump a meter up high in the air, that actually makes me laugh. So it does make me feel good at that moment, because laughter is a way of relaxation and feeling better. Then the next day I was like, you know what? I'll just go back and see if we can discuss this when it's not, when they're not drinking, they're not partying, when there's no loud music. When situation is more like, okay, this feels good. And so I was more at ease myself. And that's actually for a moment I was like, oh my, this was the worst thing I could do, because when I did, we really got into it. And I listened to Brendan Burchard today, and he was talking about conflict, or actually, so was Anthony, and there's Joe again. She's gone.
Yeah. Welcome.
Yeah, I know you're there. So Anthony, he was talking about what you can do, and a lot of the things he said I actually did. So I know that they want to party. They're young, they're kids, and I get it. It's nice to turn up the music and all that stuff. Um, but the thing was that some other things didn't add up anymore. So when they started like, yeah, I said, haven't you noticed that I come when you turn up the music? And they said, yeah, you're probably walking here around the buildings, until we are there. And then you knock on the window, and I'm like, why should I do it? It's not like I walk that easily. Joe, do you want to share what you did last night?
Yes. Well, it's 2 years since my husband passed, and I decided to remove my wedding ring, and because I felt the time is right now to put mine and his ring together in a little box for the united. And I know some people, oh, why was you still wearing it, or why are you taking it off? But that's me. That's what I want to do. And I made it clear from the beginning when he passed, after 2 years, I will replace the rings together. So I know they're together now. It was hard for me, very, very hard and emotional. because I've had them wedding rings on for 18, 19 years now. So they've always been a part of me. So now it feels strange. I'm like, oh my God, where's my ring? And it's like, you know, it's just really weird. I will replace something now, or a tattoo, or another ring. I'm not sure yet, but it was my decision, and it shouldn't be anybody's decision to interfere or say to me, well, you should keep it on, or you should have took them off a long time ago, you know? Because at the end of the day, it's my decision, my life, and I felt it was right.
Yeah, I agree with you.
At the end of the day, that was my decision to do, and that's what I wanted to do. It was 2 years, you know, and I
Yeah.
just felt it was right to, not exactly moving on, but it's a new chapter in my life. I have to accept the fact that I know he's never coming back, you know, and I'm never going to see him again.
Yeah,
And it's 2 years, so it's time to, you know, a new chapter in my life. I don't want to, but unfortunately, I'm still alive and I have to carry on, you know. So, yeah.
What made you decide to go for 2 years? I mean, there's no end.
No, I don't know. I remember a couple of months after he'd passed, and I was sitting down with the children, you know, and I said, look, I said, I'm going to keep my rings on. I said, I'm going to keep them on for 2 years. So I know he's still a part of me all the time. And I said, after 2 years, I'm going to take them off because it needs to come to that where I want the rings to be together for eternity. And I put them on top of his urn. They're together in a box. And that's just my way of dealing with it, I think. I don't know. I don't know what made me decide, to be honest. It could have been a year, could have been 2, could have been 5, but I just said 2, so I did it. You know, I'm proud of myself that I done it, because I really didn't think I was going to, because it took me an hour to actually decide to take the rings off,
Wow.
because it was like so much emotions going through my head. So yeah, so I done it.
So I hope people who are watching this are aware that they can force you to say take it off, but here it took you an hour going back and forth with emotions, even though you had made that decision yourself, and still it took you an
Yeah.
hour. So who are all those other people there out there to tell you you need to take it off? So were there many people who said so to you, or just
I had 5 people, like close friends in the UK. 2 of them were saying, "Oh, you shouldn't. You should keep them on. Like, you know, like you're giving up on him and never, you know, forgetting about him." And I said, "Well, no, I would never forget about him. I've not moved on. I've not met anybody. I just thought it's right to take the rings off. You know, it's just the way I'm feeling." And then the other 3 people saying, "You should have done that a long time ago anyway. Why have you left it till 2 years?" I'm like, what's concern of yours is it? It's my concern, nobody else,
yeah,
you
that's
know?
so true.
Mm.
That's so true. I totally agree with you. So, and this is the thing, we cannot decide for others when we need to when what's our boundary, what we can handle, what we cannot handle.
Mm.
No one else can decide for us, but we ourselves. So,
That's
and
right.
that's important for people to realize and become aware of, that only we can make that decision, especially when it comes to lost loved ones. Anna, have you ever experienced anything where you said, enough is enough, I don't want this anymore? When was enough for you?
Anna, was your partner abusive at all?
So, Joe, when you decided to, well, you actually you pressed charges, right? You didn't, or did, no, you actually left.
I didn't. I left. Yeah, I didn't. I didn't press charges. No, I left. It was my friend that saved me, that got me out of there, because that was the last time, was when I was in hospital, when I had all the broken ribs and eye socket and everything. That's when I had to. My friend come and rescued me, and she got me out of it, because the abuse. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be here now if I'd stayed. And then obviously it happened to my sister, but unfortunately my sister got murdered, so she never got out of it. She was murdered.
So, and now we are happy you are here, and we are happy that you moved away. Well
Yeah.
done. Because we know it can end differently. I concluded when I did my first live, or at least the first recording last Sunday, that when it starts to hurt you mentally or physically, whether on the in short term or in the long run, that it's so important to take action and really figure out, okay, what are you feeling deep inside? What is it telling you? And what can you do? Because if you don't act on it, then what's going to happen to you? So, Joe, before you left, you returned
Yeah.
home. So, how did that make you feel, knowing that you hadn't taken that action to actually be safe?
I think it was fear, because he threatened me if I was to go to the police or anything like that, it would hurt my family. Obviously, he'd already hurt our baby. And it was just sheer fear that I wanted to press charges. Believe me, I did want to. I wanted to have him arrested. I wanted him to put in, but back then it wasn't that easy to get them arrested like it is now. You've got more power now to be able to do that, whereas back then, never. But because of what he did to me, he would have gone away.
Mm-hmm.
But I still had that fear that if he did, he'd get somebody to search my family or, me. And that was what was always in my head. The fear of him doing something to my family. And that's literally what stopped me from getting him arrested.
All of us, in Joe included, we watched Chicago PD, of course. And we, so one of the reasons we got to talk is about this character in there, Sergeant Hank Voigt. And Joe and I have talked about it quite a lot, because he's the epiphany of, he's not thinking, he's just acting. And when we were talking about the loop and are we going to do this because repercussions and all that stuff, and in a lot of interviews, the one who plays Hank Voigt, Jason Begay, actually says, he's the one who says, when I'm hungry, I'll eat, and that he doesn't overthink it. And I guess that thinking to a degree is good, like how are you going to approach something, but overthinking is not. And I guess that's the skill that we need to develop, like, okay, what's happening, can we look at it without all these emotions and just decide like this is what we're going to do. And um, and that's what I love when you see him in action, because he isn't easily frightened by anyone. He just does, and sometimes it does have its negative side effects. But not acting can have its negative side effects too. I mean, just like Joe's sister. I mean, she can't tell about it anymore because she isn't around anymore because she decided to delay it. And that's probably why we love a good character like Hank Voight, because he comes up for those who are afraid to stand up for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he doesn't sleep any less because of it. That's good. But and it's not like I want to encourage everyone to be more like Hank Voight, but I do believe that if we look purely at the character itself, that having a little less doubt and thinking about, okay, how's this working for me, how's this working against me, am I better off deciding to leave the situation or say something about it or do something about it. That's a learning process, but the more we do it, and especially when we start doing it with the little things, that is going to help us in the long run. So, do you have any final last words? Joe, if you're hearing me, maybe you can type some final last words on Instagram. I don't think she's watching actually, but you never know. Do you have some final last words? Something you want to end the show with, Anna?
I, I'd like everyone, uh, any problem bigger than us. We have always have one thing to do. Every little, but we always have it in any situation.
We'll always have a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. And I totally agree with you. And the more we practice in the small situations, just like what this guy did. He was there, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And the more we react to those little exercises, which are sort of meaningless, but they are meaningful enough to get you going and take action, the easier we will recognize what we can do, what we cannot do, and the easier we can make that choice, which could be life-saving at some point. So for everyone who is watching or watching this at a later time, if you have any questions or any comments, please leave them, and we can maybe do a follow-up topic about this thing, because when is enough is enough. It's something we all need to learn, and I'm not talking about women, I'm also talking about men. We all need to recognize what's going to happen, because if we don't, it's going to eat us alive. And I mean, if we survive it physically, then mentally it's going to eat at us, and then we'll hurt ourselves physically in the long run, and possibly others. And that's something we do not want. We want to be power people.
Yeah.
And they see me as the neg neighbor, which is correct. I am.
Stupid.
Yeah, we can hear that.
Sorry. It sounds really, really crackly and echoing.
Am I still crackling?
Yes, very bad. The echo stopped. The echo
Yeah.
stopped.
Okay, well, that's something. Okay, I'm going to refresh the page. Let's see.
Just me and you. And everything's echoing again.
Oh no.
It's-
Okay, I'll I'll refresh
Oh,
one more time. Let me try.
oh, it must be your end.
So, is the echoing over and done with?
Sorry?
Is the echoing over and done with?
Yes, it's stopped again now.
Oh, okay. Refresh. Hit refresh. That's the solution.
It's always your end, Lexi. When you switch when you refresh, when we talk to each other, we don't get nothing. It's only when you're on.
Joe, do you recognize it? Oh, there Joe was. That was funny. That was funny. I don't know where Joe went. So you're getting compliments from someone called Sony. And Sony, let me say straight away, this is a very serious topic, what we're talking about. So I love that you say that her hair looks stunning and awesome that you're from Pakistan. But the moment that you're going to say, I love you, then this is a no-go. We are setting boundaries here. And I don't know about you, Anna, but I'm not very charmed seeing this over here. This is not the way. This is about respect, and you cannot just say that to a woman just because she looks good. That's really a no go. Do you agree, Anna?
Yeah.
So it's good that you look good, that your hair looks stunning, but no one can tell you just by looking at you on the screen that they love you. That rings all my alarm bells, actually.
My English is little bad.
Oh no, it's good enough. No worries.
Is that
It's good.
Anna? Anna?
Yeah, that's our Anna.
Oh, hi!
I'm so happy to be here today. Thank you.
So Anna, again, thank you so much. I know this isn't easy because English is not your first language. And then, of course, StreamYard didn't work as well, because of the connection going in and out. That's why Joe isn't there anymore. Um, I want to say thank you to Joe. She's not going to hear it at this moment. But for everyone,